Okay, I think I have it here. Where it is. Okay, let's chant the Mangala Charan. Can you see it? No, not yet. Hope we can see this now. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yes, we can see it.
Yeah. Okay, that's nice. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Salakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shakrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Bhajana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Desatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And so welcome you all again on our ongoing discussion on Bhagavad Gita. So we are actually in the middle of chapter 9 and let me share screen. And we have discussed till verse number 19, 17, 18 and then 19. Yeah. So just a quick recap. So in this chapter, which is the comprehensive knowledge, Krishna is going to give this comprehensive knowledge to Arjuna, and he says that by understanding this knowledge, we'll actually cross this middleness and essence, right? And hence this chapter is called the most confidential knowledge. So the teachings, Krishna said that one has to be faithful, one has not to be envious, right? And a faithless person cannot attain Krishna or cannot understand this literature as well. And then we discussed about how Krishna actually is everywhere, how he pervades and how he maintains this material cosmos, isn't it? He says I create this universe, and at the beginning of day of Brahma, and then I again annihilate everything in the night of Brahma. And we also see that at the end of Brahma's life, also everything goes back into Mahavishnu's body. Right, so this creation and annihilation is everything happens just by the will of Krishna, desire, just by the will of Krishna. And also even described, and we've discussed that just by blinking the eyelids, Krishna can actually destroy everything or create everything. And however, he directly doesn't involve everything everywhere. He actually involves through his energy, and all his energies are working across everywhere. Right, and Krishna is supreme director of everything. Right. Krishna says, Maya Dakshina Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. By his superintendence, his whole cosmos is actually running. And then we discussed about this very important section where the fools, the people who deride Krishna as an ordinary person, right? And then Krishna explains about Mahatmas, where we just talked about the Mahatmas. They are kind of completely unalloyed devotion to Krishna. They are Ananya Bhaktas, and they worship Krishna constantly and with devotion. There we discussed, and then in last week we discussed about the three kinds of jnanis, and where we understood about these sections, this 15 to 19, right, where we say the Ekatvena and Vishuddhamukha and Pratyektvena. So one is Ekatvena is worshipping Krishna in oneness, and then worshipping Krishna in diversity, and then worshipping Krishna as Bhagavad or Vishuddhamukha is universal form. So Krishna described in the 4 last verses, 15 to 19, especially about this the people who worship Krishna as a universal form. And if we quickly recap it, here Krishna says that I'm the goal, I'm the sustainer, and the master, the witness, the abode, the refugee, and the most dear friend as well. And I create and light everything, and everything rests on me, right? And then before that, Krishna has, so in this 17th verse, Krishna says, I'm the father of this universe, the mother, the support, the grandsire, and actually everything is Krishna. Every Vedic mantra starts with Om, and Krishna says, I am that Om, I'm this level Om, right? The way studying of this Vedas, Rig, Sam, Yajur, Atharva, all Vedas are actually to know Krishna. Right? And Krishna says, I am also this Rig Ved, Sam Ved, Ajur Ved, right? And then before that, Krishna says he's the ritual, he's the sacrifice, he's the offering, he's the hurling herb, he's the chanting, he's the butter and the fire, everything is actually Krishna. So this way, this transcendentalist, these are transcendental anyway, they are more higher than this karmis, right? However, these three were one worshipping Krishna in oneness. That's Krishna speaks in text number 15. Yes, these things. Ekatvena, Pratyektvena, and Bhagavad Vishuddhamukham. So these Gyanis, some Gyanis, they worship Krishna in oneness. They think that I am also Krishna. But that's the lowest one. And it's condemned. Acharya is condemned that this concept that I can become Krishna, or I will become Krishna, or by performing some sadhana or some yogi practice, I can become Krishna. That is completely kind of it misleads us. We cannot become Krishna at any point of time, right? That's also Krishna describes in chapter 2 and 6 and then 7 and then 9 again as well, right? And then Pratyektvena is the succession is coming today. And we discussed about Vishuddhamukha, how this Gyanis, the third category Gyanis who actually worship Krishna as universal form. So let's discuss about Pratyektvena today. That starts from text 20. So I will repeat this verse 19 and 20. Yes. Trividya Mam Shomapaha Puta Papa Yagnair Ishtva Swargatim Pratyante Punyam Ashadya Surendra Lokam Ashnanti Divyan Divi Deva Bhogan Trividya Mam Soma Put Papa Yagner Istva Swargatim Prarthayante Te Punyamasadya Surendra Lokam Ashnanti Divyan Divi Deva Bhogan. Those who study the Vedas, there are three Vedas, and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. These are very important words, right? Because it's actually Krishna is going to describe us about this demigod worship, right? This worshipping Krishna in diversity, understanding everything as Krishna, or whomsoever you see the devatas and and singing that he's a God, he's a supreme word. So that's what Krishna is saying that. And they worship me indirectly. Purified of sinful reactions, they take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. So the people who aspire for more, pleasure, they perform or study these Vedas, and then they perform austerities and they perform sacrifices, and by doing that they actually go to heavenly kingdom, right? If you remember, Krishna speaks in chapter 8 that whomsoever we worship, we actually go to their abode. Even Krishna is going to say this again here as well, right? So this is that the studying of the Vedas and drinking Somarasa, desire to drink the Somarasa, and they seek, the seek means their desire for heavenly planets, heavenly kingdom, and they go there. What happens? When they are purified by sinful reactions, they take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra. So they go to heavenly kingdom, Indra Lokam, right? And then what they do? They enjoy as per the credits what they got, right? It's basically kind of, you by performing pious activity, or let's, for example, by performing or by getting a good job, you get good amount of money, good salary, good amount of money, and then you enjoy that salary, having a good or big bungalow, or having a good car, or touring the world, because you need money for touring the world, right? So in this way, when you have so much of money, you enjoy it, right? In the similar way, by performing pious activity, what happens? We by when we give this body, we go to this heavenly kingdom, and there we enjoy like the gods, like this suras, right? Like the suras and asuras. Suras are devatas actually who are devotee of Lord, and asuras are the demons who actually envy the Lord, right? So what happens when we desire to go to heavenly kingdom? We worship different devatas, and actually we worship Krishna, but indirectly, right? And in that way, what happens? We go to the heavenly kingdom and enjoy there. We try to drink the Somarasa, and let's see what Prabhupada says in the purport. So the word Trividya refers to three Vedas, Sama, Yajur, Riga. A Brahmana who has studied these three Vedas is called Trivedi. It's a very nice thing. I was hearing a lecture long back, I think by Radheshyam Prabhu, if I'm not wrong. And he was saying, I might be wrong, but I'm just trying to recall. So he was saying that this title in India, you say the Trivedi, Dvivedi, right, Chaturvedi. These titles actually they got from this ancient time when they used to study these Vedas. When the person goes to Gurukula, right? When the child actually goes to Gurukul to study, and then when they at the end of their Gurukul system, so when they completely study these four Vedas, completely understand things, then they get title of Chaturvedi. And if someone qualified to read three Vedas, they get Trivedi, and two Dvivedi. So in that way, title was given. But now the title has came up, but the essence was actually this: if you study the four Vedas, you get the title as Chaturvedi and Trivedi and Dvivedi over that, right? So there was a point I came to my mind. I got this Trivedi, and anyone who is very much attached to the knowledge derived from these three Vedas is respected in society. So these are the Brahmanas actually who knows about the Vedas, and they are actually well respected in the society. However, Prabhupada's condemned here the thing that saying that unfortunately there are many great scholars of the Vedas who do not know the ultimate purport of studying them. Krishna says in chapter 15, Veda Sharver Am Eva Vedyo. So Veda, studying of the Vedas actually is to understand Krishna. Am Eva Vedyo, right? To know Krishna is actually the essence of studying Vedas. Right. So therefore, Krishna herein declares himself to the ultimate goal of the three Vedas. Right. So studying Vedas actually is to understand Krishna well. Right. And actually, three Vedas take shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna and engage in pure devotional service to satisfy the Lord. And hence, Prabhupada says that in this Kali Yuga, devotional service begins with chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Right. So, however, what happens here we are actually contaminated by these modes, and hence we engage ourselves to elevate to the planet system. Prabhupada says here, actually, if you see here, it says that by such endeavor, I mean, let's start here. Unfortunately, those who are simply official students of Vedas become more interested in offering sacrifices to the different demigods like Indra and Chandra. By such endeavor, the worshippers of different demigods are certainly purified of the contamination of the lower qualities of nature, and thereby elevated to the higher planet system or heavenly planets known as Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, etc. And once situated on this higher planet system, one can satisfy his senses 100 and 1,000 times better than on this planet. So how people aspire for going to higher planet? How? That's Prabhupada says, just by studying the Vedas, we offer sacrifices to different demigods like Indra and Chandra. So worshipping demigods and aspiring to go to their planet, definitely we have a better chance of satisfying our senses. Prabhupada says here, one can satisfy his senses hundreds and thousands of times better than on this planet. Right? However, the next verse says something amazing. So this verse says that Krishna says that people, they worship, by understanding the Vedas, they worship devatas or different personalities, and they attain their abode like heavenly kingdoms, like Prabhupada says Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Brahmaloka, and there they enjoy like them. Like if you imagine, while you're discussing Srimad Bhagavatam last year, where the devatas, even heavenly kingdom, they have their own plane. They can roam from here anywhere where they want, isn't it? And like that. But in this world, if you want to go in a plane, we have to pay some great amount of money to go from here one place to another place, right? But in devatas, they have their own planets and they move here and there as they wish. So there is actually more kind of sense pleasure there. However, the problem is that text 21. Let's see. Tetam bhuktva
Bhutva
swarga
Swarga
lokam
Lokam
vishalam
Vishalam
shine
Shine
punye
Punye
martya lokam
Mratyalokam
vishanti
Vishanti
evam
Evam
trai
Trai
dharmam
Dharmam
anuprapanna
Anuprapanna
gatagatam
Gatagatam
kama kama
Kama
labhante
Labhante
ekam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam
Tetam Bhuktva
Swargalokam Vishalam
क्षीणे पुण्य मृत्यु लोकम विसंति
Shine
Dine Punyam Mrityulokam Vishanti
एवं त्रिधर्मम अनुप्रपन्नाम
Evam
Evam
Triyadharmam
Triyadharmam
Anuprapanna
गतागतम काम कामा लभन्ते.
Gatagatam
Gatagatam
Kama
Kama
Labhanti
Labhanti.
So this text 21 speaks about once we reach the heavenly kingdom, what we do. Let's see. It says, when they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principle of three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. I'll repeat again. This is a very, very important verse, because normally in general people worship devatas to go to heavenly kingdom, and just imagine what we do there. Definitely we enjoy there thousand times better than enjoying here, right? But what happens when they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. So let's see what happens is, basically we'll take the same example again. we have good amount of money, right? So what we will do, we may tour. Let's, for example, we go to France, right? We have the money, and you went to France. You actually booked a hotel for maybe a couple of months as per your as per capacity. You booked a hotel for a couple of months, and then you roam around here and there. As soon as you see that, okay, your booking of 100 or 1 month is actually finishing, you have to come back again. Your holidays are finished. You can't stay there because you have to come back again and do your job and to earn more money. So the amount of money you have either deposited for this tour to France, that money actually is now all finished, isn't it? So you let's suppose you have 10,000 pound, and you went there. You actually, as per the capacity, you actually spent everything. You went to your, as per your wish, you went to ship or the boats, or whatever you want, you can enjoy there. You can think of all the things what you can do. So but as soon as you see your amount, the fixed amount you have taken, that actually runs away out, you come back again. You don't stay in the hotel again. You can't stay there because you have to pay. So what happens? You come back again to your place, maybe your Glasgow or Manchester, and then you start earning again, right? So in a similar way, the amount of piety we acquired by doing some sacrifices for the demigod or worshipping them, the amount of piety we acquire here, and when we, by leaving this body, when we go to the heavenly kingdom, we enjoy till that piety, right? Before the piety doesn't finishes completely. As soon as it is about to finish, we again come back to this material world. So that's what Krishna is saying in this verse, right? So what he says, so they enjoy there vastly. As we have so much of money, we go to France, and for a whole month we enjoy it. But when a month of 30 days, when the date 25th comes, we start thinking, okay, now we have to go back again because I'm running out of money now, or my booking is for 1 month is not finishing. I have to leave back again to my hometown, right? So after enjoying this heavenly kingdom for a vast time, and the results of the pious activities get exhausted, so the money is about to finish, right? What happens? We come back again to our own home. So where we come back again from heavenly kingdom to this metal planet again, and hence this cycle. So when we come here, we have the desire to do more sense gratification, then we have to desire to do higher sense enjoyment, then we worship demigods, we acquire piety, and then again we go there, then again we come here. So this cycle of birth and death is not ending. Even going to heavenly kingdom also, the cycle of birth and death, Janam Jara Vyadhi, is actually continuing. It's not finishing. The amount of sense enjoyment is higher there in heavenly kingdom, and lower in this material world, and even lowest in this in the Bhutal or in Tala, in the lower planet system. So the pleasure actually goes from peak to low and high to low kind of things, but it's continuing. It's not completely vanished. That's why the birth and death is continued, right? Let's see the purport. So one who is promoted to the higher planet system enjoys a longer duration of life and better facility for sense enjoyment, yet one is not allowed to stay there forever, isn't it? We can't stay there forever. If you want to stay, we can't. As soon as our piety finishes, we have to come back again here to earn the piety. And if you still wanted to go there, earn piety and go back over there, right? So that's what it says. One is again sent back to this earth upon finishing the fruits of pious activities. So he who has not attained perfect knowledge. So what is the perfect knowledge? Prabhupada actually refers to this first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. That first verse, right? Even that verse says, Tene Brahma Hridayadi Kavye Muyanti Yada Surya. I am the one actually who give this knowledge to Lord Brahma. And even this material world becomes illusion for great sages as well. However, he says that My abode is actually eternal. It's Chinmay. Dhamna Swena Sada Nirasta Kukam Satyam Paramadhimahi. So Krishna's abode is actually Paramadhimahi, Param Dhama. Right? That's the eternal world. So Prabhupada says that anyone has not attained this perfect knowledge, right, of this, who is the creator, who is the destroyer, who is actually eternal, who is nothing like that. Who, if you don't have the knowledge, so he who fails to understand Krishna, the cause of all causes, because becomes baffled about achieving the ultimate goal of life. So if you see earlier, Krishna spoke that I am the goal, but just trying to enjoy ourselves is not the goal. And if we don't have this proper knowledge, then actually we will be coming in this cycle of birth and death, right? So the best is to go to the spiritual world from where we don't have to come back again, right? And that Krishna. So this section comes with demigod worship or worshipping Krishna in diversity, and in the between, as a contrast, Krishna explains about the pure devotees in these two verses, text 22 and text 23. Right, let's see. So in one aspect we understood that if we worship, or if we have, even if you worship anyone, any god, for more sense enjoyment, we elevate ourselves to heavenly kingdom. However, as soon as the piety finishes, we come back again here. Even Krishna says that a brahma bhona loka punavartina arjuna mamupati konteya punara janmana vidhyate. So Krishna says that from brahma loka till all everything, actually there's a birth and death cycle goes on. But mamupati, anyone who attains Krishna's abode, there is no janma, again no birth again, right? Even that comes in many times. Krishna spoke the same thing. Even 4.9 also say the same thing, right? By understanding Krishna's transcendental pastimes and activities, we actually go to Krishna's abode. 4.9, right? Let's see what Krishna says about this bhakti in between, this describing about going to higher planet, right? So from here we are in heavenly earth, the planet, and now just imagine we have achieved the heavenly planet now, but Krishna says something higher than that in these two verses. Let's see text 22. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janaha paryupasate tesham nityabhyuktanam
Nityabhyuktanam
yogakshemam
yogasnemam
vahamyaham.
vahamyaham
Ananyas chintayanto mam
Ananya Chintayanto
chintayanto mam
ye janaha paryupasate
Ye Jana
jana paryupasate
tesham nityabhyuktanam
tesham nityabhyuktanam
yogakshemam vahamyaham.
yogasnemam vahamyaham.
So this text actually going to give us a glimpse of bhakti, right? So now worshipping Krishna in diversity, you go to heavenly kingdom, and we are worshipping Krishna indirectly as well. Text 20 says that we do worship Krishna but indirectly. And now text 22 says this, but those who worship me with exclusive devotion, Prabhupada says this completely exclusive devotion, right? Ananya bhakta, ananya, having no other object, is exclusively, right? And chintayanta is actually devotion, thinking of Krishna. What happened? Meditation on my transcendental form, right? So when you worship me, means you are worshipping a person. So that's why you are meditating on his transcendental form. What happened? To them I carry what they lack, and I preserve what they have. Now, so Krishna is saying that I actually take care of them, in fact, isn't it? So, but what if you see this in this verse, it says two very important word. Nitya is always, right? And abhiyuktanam in fixed in devotion, right? So Krishna protects them, Krishna takes care of them who actually worship Krishna with devotion. And ananya is no other objective, no other desire, right? And nitya, always. The Bhagavatam verse says ahetuki apratihata yatma suprasiddhati. That verse, the topmost duty of a human being is that sve pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adokshaje ahetuki apratihata yatma suprasiddhati. Ahetuki, without any motivation and without any interruption, apratihata, right? No motivation, no interruption. I mean, it goes continuously, nitya, and without any motivation. So what happens for them? Even they don't desire anything, but Krishna says, I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. Can you imagine it? So Krishna is saying, I take care of them, no need to worry at all, right? So if you perform bhakti to Krishna, which is directly, then Krishna is going to take care of every other things, right? But we don't have desire, we don't want Krishna to take care of us, but he takes it, right? That's how it is ananya. And I don't desire that Krishna, I'm worshiping Krishna not to take care of me. I'm worshiping Krishna just with devotion, and it's Krishna's mercy that he takes care of me. That's his bonus things. But I don't desire Krishna to take care of me. I'm worshiping him just with devotion, right? So let's see purport. This is very important verse, isn't it? Krishna says, I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. It's basically it's about our devotion. What the devotion we have, Krishna preserve that actually, and Krishna gives us more devotion to us. So if you imagine, if you take the example of Prahlad Maharaj, even Prahlad Maharaj has no desire. Even he was being, in so many ways he was crucified by his father Hiranyakashipu, but he was completely in devotion. He never prayed Krishna that, oh Krishna, my father is doing this and this to me, please come and save me. He was just saying, okay, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, just worshiping Krishna all the time, and Krishna is taking care of him. I mean, just if you imagine the way is being tortured to Prahlad Maharaj, actually we can see that the torture we get in today's world is nothing in front of the comparison with that. But still, Prahlad Maharaj was completely focused in devotion, and we are never focused in devotion, right? We just worship Krishna, as Krishna says earlier, to fulfill our sense gratifications, our desires. So, and protection, when it says I preserve, this protection is not just only our material body, but also our consciousness. So consciousness is what, I think this was said by Groundation Prabhu. He was saying that Krishna preserve our consciousness. So even when we wanted to give up our body, when we die, I mean, no one wants to give up, but we have to give up our body at some time. So when we die, Krishna, he helps us to remember himself, and by remembering Krishna, we go to his abode, right? So that's how Krishna is actually preserving what we have, the consciousness to worship him, to love him with devotion. So one who is unable to live for a moment without Krishna consciousness cannot but think of Krishna 24 hours a day. And being engaged in devotional service by hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, worshipping, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, rendering other services, cultivating friendship and surrendering fully to the Lord. This 9 prasada bhakti. Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padashevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dashyam, Shakyam, and Atma Nivedanam. These 9 things Prabhupada says here. So such activities are all auspicious and full of spiritual potencies, which makes the devotee perfect in self-realization, so that his only desire is to achieve association of the Supreme Lord, right? So such a devotee undoubtedly approaches Lord without difficulty. There is no difficulty to worship or to reach there, right? So Prabhupada says that Krishna is, he mercifully protect his devotees, right? And let's see next verse. So what happens when we this text 23 again come back to this demigod worship theme, where Krishna is saying that what happens, or how we when we worship demigod, in what way we worship it. So let's see. Ye
Ye
api
api
anya
anya
devata
devata
bhakta
bhakta
yajante
yajante
shraddhayanvitaha
shraddhayanvitaः
tepi
tepi
mameva
mameva
kaunteya
kaunteya
yajante
yajante
avidhipurvakam.
avidipurvakam.
So anyone who worship Krishna, Krishna take cares of what they lack, and Krishna preserve what they have. That's text 22. Text 23, what Krishna is saying, that those who are the devotees of other gods and worship them with faith actually worship me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in wrong way. In text 21, Krishna says that they do it in a wrong, indirectly they worship me. And in text 23, Krishna is saying that anyone who worship the other gods, they do it in a wrong way. So to go more detail in this, as most of us are Indian, so we used to worship so many devatas. So what does we understand from here? Shall we stop worshiping any or respecting anyone? It's not that. So the point is respecting everyone, or all the devatas, what we see, like Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Rudra, Brahma, Ganesha, these all are actually our servant of Lord. So understanding is that actually we are worshipping Krishna, at the same time we are respecting them. It's not okay, I don't respect these devatas, the demigods. It's not that. We need to respect them because they are our servant of Lord. But the Krishna is saying that if we worship them ignoring Krishna, then we are actually worshipping them as avidhipurvakam. It's actually in a wrong way. So real understanding that even if we are worshipping them, then we should understand that actually the supreme master of these devatas actually is Krishna. That's the real understanding, right? We do not deny that they are not superior. They are definitely superior than us. But as Krishna is saying that they are my servants, right? Ekela Ishwara Krishna Arasava Bhratya. Chaitanya Charitamrita says Ishwara is one Krishna, and Lord Brahma is also say the same thing, right? Ishwara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. So supreme controller or supreme Ishwar, Parameshwar is Krishna, and all others are actually Bhritya. Bhritya means they all are servant, right? There is only Krishna is the supreme Lord, and everyone is their servant. So this verse, text 23, speaks about the same thing, isn't it? Krishna's he's saying it's not our words, not any speculation, or not any change in the words. Krishna is saying it's avidhipurvakam. Anyone who worship this other devata, if you see the words, ye api anya devata bhakta, means what? Anyone who is a devotee of all any other devata, right? And they are worshipping them with shraddha. That's good, with faith. And even if you say Krishna, this faith also comes from Krishna. The faith we have, we discussed in chapter 7, the faith by which we worship the devata, that faith actually comes from Krishna itself, right? So Krishna is saying that yajante avidhipurvakam. So worshipping devatas is actually ignoring Krishna, or thinking that Krishna is also same as them, is worshipping them with avidhipurvakam. So they actually worship Krishna himself, but in a wrong way. Earlier we see it's indirectly, and now it's in a wrong way, right? So Prabhupada gives very nice examples in this purport as well. We'll go through this. These are very important. It's 46. Okay, let's try to cover this verse at least. So persons who are engaged in the worship of demigods are not very intelligent, although such worshippers is offered to me indirectly. Right? That's what Krishna is saying. So for example, you say when a man pours water on the leaves and branches of a tree without pouring water on the root, we all know that he does so without sufficient knowledge, because someone is pouring on water on the leaves and the trunks, the water is not getting nourished. But when you put water on the roots, the water get nourishment properly. In the same way, the food, we can't take, okay, we have this chapati, we have this rice, and there is sabji and dal, we can, okay, let me rub those dal and sabji in my hands or legs and body, my body will get nourished. No, the way is to take it, and the stomach will actually take it, and all the body will get nourished, right? So root is there, the stomach is there. In the similar way, the root is Supreme Lord Krishna, and when you worship Krishna directly, everything get, they all get satisfied by itself, right? So, and then so Prabhupada says that this is by watering to leaves and branches, basically the person has no sufficient knowledge or without sufficient knowledge, because he is just watering to leaves. But if you water to the root, it will fulfill all the desires. In a similar way, the process of rendering service to different parts of the body is to supply food to the stomach. So when you supply food to stomach, all others our body get nourished. In the similar way, the demigods are, so to speak, different officers and directors in the government of the Supreme Lord. One has to follow the laws made by the government, not by the officers or directors, isn't it? The Supreme lawmaker is the government. You have to follow those. Similarly, everyone is to offer his worship to Supreme Lord only. That will automatically satisfy the different officers and directors of the Lord. See, in this material cosmos, these examples to given to understand it, but in the material cosmos, the officers and directors, they may be envious of the government. However, in this condition, or when we compare them with the Krishna and the Devatas, when we worship directly to Krishna, these devatas, they never get envious of us. In fact, they praise us more, right? So in this metal world, it's a bit different, because it is the Kala Shashwata, everyone is hankering for something else. But in the spiritual world, when you worship this Krishna directly, these all devatas, they actually become pleased. If you remember, it comes in chapter canto 4 in Rudra Gita, when Lord Shiva, when he go on to preach this prachetas, and he becomes very, 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 what do you say, very very much happy with those prachetas, because they were willing to worship Krishna, the Supreme Lord. So he says, okay, as you are going to worship Krishna, I am become very happy, and I will direct you how to worship Krishna. That's how Rudra Gita comes, isn't it? So that's how, by worshiping Krishna directly, we can actually worshiping all devatas as well. And that's how. And ignoring Krishna and doing there is Avadhi Purvakam. Prabhupada says nice things here. Says the officers and directors are engaged as a representative of the government, and to offer some bribe to the officers and directors are illegal. And this is stated here as Avidhi Purvakam. And in other words, Krishna does not approve the unnecessary worship of the demigods, right? This section actually has two more verses, text 24 and text 25. We will try to cover on our next week, right? And there is a nice line, actually, I was hearing in a talk. He says, demigods are servants of Krishna, and even what are the boons we get from them are actually bestowed by Krishna himself. So even the devatas, they don't have the power to give the boons to us. It's actually coming from Krishna directly, right? So why not to engage ourselves in worshiping Krishna directly, and going through indirect way or Avidhi Purvakam, or in a wrong way or indirect way? Let's worship Krishna indirectly. Directly we can worship Krishna. Anyone have any thought a question? I know it's a bit more difficult section, especially for we Indians. But anyone have any thought or question or any comments, please let us know. Otherwise, we'll chant one round. What the message was clear? Is it clear what we're discussing today?
It has been wonderful, Prabhuji. No problems at all.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Because I actually get scared to discuss these topics, especially with Indian. But yeah, because we have been born and brought up with different conception of gods, and so. But internally, if we read Gita properly, Krishna is clearly mentioning these points, isn't it? Because see, worshipping devatas it's not condemned, right? It's not bad, or it's not disrespecting them. The thing is that we need to take a higher step. If you are in a job, definitely after a couple of years, or maybe some 5 or 6 years, if you're not getting promotion or not getting a salary hike, we need to think of why I can't be remaining in the same platform. I need to go higher, isn't it? I need to move on, right? In the similar way, if earlier people who is kind of Nastic, he has gone up to next stage is having some astic, and then now he is karmi, and now from their karmi to jnani, and now from jnani to yogis, and yogis to bhakta. These are different levels. So if we are on the platform of worshipping devatas, it's good. By doing that, actually we'll go to their planet, but there's something higher. So why not to seek the next level? Why not to change the gear and move faster to the spiritual world, from where there is no coming back, right? Okay, I'll stop here. We'll just chant for 5-7 minutes. Okay. Hare Krishna.